how do you crack that nut of putting improv in a little box in people's homes and making it sort of give that live sense?
Well, Ed isn't wrong, really, that it's a very, very different animal on TV. It's almost so different that it really isn't quite the same. The first thing is it's got to be very quick. The entire show is 20 minutes, 50 seconds. On British television, 24 minutes. But in America, it's 20 minutes, 50 seconds. That means it's got to happen straight away. And you can't have people who are good but take time to get there, which is a lot of people we've auditioned in the past have been great, but they just don't do it fast enough. That's number one. Number two, it has to work. You will all know that maybe improvisers aren't the most, say, self-disciplined people, always get up on time, never do drugs, any of this sort of stuff. And if you have a show that doesn't work live, all right, the worst that happens is it was a show that didn't really work live. You can't go to people who've given you a lot of money to make a show and say, sorry guys, it didn't work tonight, I just don't have one. And at the beginning of the night when you literally have nothing, that's very unusual for TV execs. They're terribly scared, and you go, don't worry, it's going to happen. But you can't fail. You have to make it work. And the third thing, I think, is that you've got to assume that it's an audience. If you do an improv show, you've basically got your audience there. If it's particularly terrible, they'll walk out, but you've got them there. You have to assume on television it's an audience who've just poked their head and go, do I like this? I'm going to give it about 10 seconds. Do I like it? Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. So you've got to assume it's the same audience every night who you've got to capture, and you've got to do it very fast. So it really is a different animal. Also, you can't, there's all the copyright things. You can't start singing Beatles tunes. You can't just decide you're going to go off into a tangent and do a well-known tune or a well-known thing. You've got all of that stuff. But it's why that over the years, and I know Catherine mentioned this to me yesterday, the people we have turned down for the show is extraordinary. I mean, some of it just because I was stupid, but we didn't take. There was one audition which I think Liz organised, and Catherine Newman was in it. But it was we had Mike Myers that we didn't take, Jon Stewart that we didn't take, Ben Stiller that we didn't take. And we took something that actually was okay, but it was, and Catherine Newman, yeah. Catherine Newman, who vociferously we didn't take. And in Chicago, I didn't take Steve Carell and Tina Fey in the same audition. And for various reasons. I mean, most of those were you just put down to mistake. But at the time, it might be that Steve Carell was quite shouty when he did. I think he's a genius, but he was shouty, and shouty doesn't work on television because the microphone is there and it's got to be very controlled. And Tina Fey, because I thought, she looks like she's a writer. She doesn't seem to have the charisma of a performer in that thing. And then you go, oh my God, she's just an utter genius. Yeah. What an idiot I was. I don't know why I'm bringing all of this up. It doesn't
I don't know.
particularly make me look.
Well, let's take this off ramp.
Yeah.